Office politics. The hidden battlefield where weaklings collapse, where cowards whine, where fools waste their breath on gossip instead of conquest. You think hard work will save you? You think merit alone will crown you? Pathetic. The truth is brutal. You either master this arena, or you will be chewed up, spat out, and forgotten. But for those who dare, for those willing to rise above gossip, above insecurity, above the pathetic games of the herd, there are laws, not laws of survival, laws of domination. If you wield them, you do more than survive office politics. You weaponize it. You turn every rival into a pawn, every system into a shield, every step into a march toward power. So listen closely. What follows are not tips, not tricks, not workplace hacks. What follows are the iron laws of power inside the political jungle of the workplace. Break them, and you'll be eaten alive. Master them, and you will rule. Strip motives. Bare, crush assumptions. Most people are hopeless at reading a room. Someone ignores them, doesn't invite them, delays a reply. And the insecure brain, like a wounded animal, snarls. They're jealous. They're plotting. They want to take me down. Pathetic. You are not that important. The world does not rotate to massage your ego. Here's the unforgiving truth. People act for themselves, for fear, for hunger, for wounded pride. Rarely for you, never for your drama. So stop drowning in pity. Learn the first law of power. Interrogate motives, never assume. Ask clean, brutal questions. Why are they doing this? What are they afraid of? What do they want? What hidden project has nothing to do with me? This single shift kills victimhood. Dead. And when victimhood dies, you become untouchable. Picture it. At work, your boss cuts you off. Do you pout and whisper sabotage? Or do you stop, dissect, and see the real engine? His deadlines, his fear of looking weak. Now you don't melt. You maneuver. Your friend cancels at the last minute. Do you assume rejection? Or do you see the honest motive? Exhaustion, crisis, cowardice, and conserve your energy for real enemies. You've just dodged a needless battle. Machiavelli studied this. A ruler survives not through sentimental assumptions of loyalty, but by stripping every move to its root motive. Cesare Borgia did not react to flattery. He exposed the fear behind it. Then he acted with surgical force. That's why his rivals trembled. The weak invent conspiracies. The strong pick them apart. The paranoid reacts. The strategist dissects. Ask yourself, do you live as the fragile ego, spinning fairy tales to justify hurt? Or as the Machiavellian, untouchable because you see through every mask? Master this law, and your inner discipline becomes a weapon. Reading motives gives you prediction. Prediction gives you leverage. Leverage gives you control. When you command your interior, you command the outer world. You bend agendas. You steer alliances. You collapse opposition with precision. You don't just survive human politics. You weaponize understanding. You anticipate. You manipulate. You dominate.
Hey guys, we're Wisdom, based in Abu Dhabi. We use AI tools to make these concepts come to life, but it's our amazing team who goes deep, breaking down powerful philosophical ideas and showing how they really apply in everyday life. We hope you enjoyed today's content.
Crush the pawn, judge the throne. Here's where the herd collapses. They see one rival, one critic, one worm in the dirt, and they confuse him for the kingdom itself. They mistake a rat's squeak for the voice of the throne. Think. Have you ever hated a co-worker, a manager, a politician, only to realize later they weren't the power, only a pawn, only a disposable piece on the board? Because here's the iron truth. Politics is gravity. It flows downward from the top. If your rival's little games contradict the values of the leader, then you have leverage. That rival is not a systemic threat. He is vermin, and vermin are easily stamped out. How? Simple. You don't dirty your hands killing flies. You let the system devour them for you. Expose them. Align yourself so flawlessly with the throne's values that the machine itself exterminates your enemy. But here's the darker reality. What if the throne smiles on the rot? What if the leader rewards the lies, praises the corruption, celebrates the snakes? Now you are not fighting a rival. You are standing in a diseased empire. And here is the Machiavellian truth. You cannot cure it, you cannot reform it. When the throne itself is diseased, every strike you swing drains only your own blood. The wise warrior withdraws, not in fear, in calculation. Better to retreat whole, regroup, and strike elsewhere than die on foreign soil for a doomed cause. Picture it at work. If one coworker undermines you, but the boss hates games, you expose and crush the insect. But if the boss laughs at the deceit, plays it himself, rewards the snakes, then you are not climbing a ladder, you are sinking in quicksand. That's when you stop scrapping for crumbs and start plotting escape. In society, if one official is corrupt, you can burn him down. But if the government itself sanctifies corruption, then you face not a man, but a rotting empire. And no empire that rots from the head can ever be saved. Machiavelli knew this. A prince can purge traitors when the state is strong, but when corruption sits on the throne itself, collapse is inevitable. So ask yourself, in every conflict, am I fighting a symptom, or am I trapped in the disease? If it's a symptom, crush it without mercy. If it's a disease, abandon the empire before it devours you. That is not cowardice. That is ruthless survival. And survival is the foundation of domination. Wield values as sword and shield. Politics cuts deepest not with steel, but with values. Think. When you stand in a place that insults your core code, every whisper feels like a dagger. Every betrayal feels like a mortal wound. Here's the brutal truth the weak deny. If your values do not align with the system's, you are finished. You cannot outlast it. You cannot change them. That fantasy is cowardice. It is like staying chained to an abuser, praying for mercy. It will never happen. They will not bend. You will break. So ask yourself now, does this battlefield honor your code or spit on it? If it honors it, good. Politics becomes background noise. You maneuver, you rise, you conquer, without shredding yourself inside. But if it mocks your values, then every step poisons you. No paycheck, no promotion, no crown can save you from the slow rot of betraying your code. Machiavelli knew this. A prince must appear aligned with the values the people respect, or his throne crumbles. If even a ruler cannot survive a clash between values and perception, what chance do you have? Here lies your shield, your values. They block battles that are not yours. Here lies your sword, your values. They ignite the courage to strike when the cause is worthy, but confuse them and you are ruined. Stay in a realm where your values are mocked and your shield shatters, your sword turns inward and you collapse into dust. At work, in society, even in bloodlines, alignment is not optional. When your values and the system align, you are untouchable. When they clash, politics is poison. So choose, and choose without mercy. Because the man who abandons his code for ambition does not ascend. He decays, he rots, bleed in silence, hunt in power. This is where the herd collapses. They feel the pressure. They suffer the weight of politics. And what do? They gossip. They whine. They bleed in public. But understand this. The moment you bleed, predators close in. The instant you complain, you brand yourself weak. You think you're venting stress. In truth, you are tossing yourself to the sharks. You become the very insect you despise. A petty gossip, a background extra in the very game you swore you'd dominate. Venting is not release. Venting is surrender. Never indulge in rumor. Never badmouth. Never rant to colleagues. That is the conduct of slaves, not strategists. Instead, embrace silence. Cold, calculated, predatory. Let fools chatter and leak their strength. You conserve yours, because silence is not emptiness. It is power. It is control. It is the question that haunts the room. What does he know? What is she planning? Machiavelli warned princes, avoid contempt, avoid hatred, never show weakness. A ruler who vents is predictable. A ruler who gossips is despised. But a ruler who holds his tongue, he is feared. At work, picture two colleagues clawing each other apart, spilling every frustration. Then picture you, silent, unreadable, immovable. Who radiates strength? Who commands respect? In society, friends gossip to bond. But when you refuse, when you stay quiet, your silence becomes gravity. Others lean in, drawn by the power of what you don't reveal. This is the transformation, from swamp to chessboard, from noise to strategy, because the one who never vents, never gossips, never bleeds in public, becomes untouchable. And every opponent becomes a pawn to be moved. Every fool who bleeds becomes prey. Every silence you hold becomes a blade at their throat. Rule the stage. Command the story. Fools think hard work speaks for itself. Idiots believe merit alone will crown them. Pathetic. Here is the truth. It is not what you do that matters. It is what others see and what others believe. Visibility is not decoration. Visibility is a weapon. If you do not seize control of the story of your worth, someone else will. And when they rewrite it, they won't just steal your credit. They will erase you from history. So what must you do? You master perception. You showcase victories with precision. You align your work with powerful eyes. You plant seeds of influence in the soil that matters. Never wait to be discovered. Never pray that credit will find you. Drag credit into the light. Chain it. Force it to kneel. At work, this means you don't just finish the project. You make sure the throne knows who finished it. You don't just perform. You perform where the decision makers are watching. In society, it is not enough to be loyal. You must look loyal. Not enough to be generous. You must appear generous, because as Machiavelli taught, men judge by appearances, never reality. Even rulers are slaves to perception. A prince must wear the mask of mercy, faith, piety, while in secret he wields cunning and cruelty. For the people do not see the heart, they see only the mask. So, what mask do you wear? Do you look like the one in command? Or do you look invisible? Because invisibility is death. Master visibility, and you bend reality itself. The room will believe what you decree it to believe. And once the narrative is yours, rivals become shadows, seen less, trusted less, forgotten faster. Forge shadows into shields. Naive employees chase friendship at work. They crave approval, comfort, belonging, pathetic. They think gossip circles equal loyalty, but gossip is sand. It slips, it betrays, it collapses at the first sign of pressure. Real power builds differently, not loudly, not desperately, but silently, strategically. You do not need everyone. You need the right ones, the figures with leverage, with resources, with access, the ones who can unlock doors others don't even know exist. And here is the law. You never boast about these alliances. You never trumpet your hand. You weave them in silence, thread by invisible thread. Until the day comes when a rival lunges, they think you stand alone. But the trap springs. Hands emerge from the shadows. Voices rise in your defense, and your enemy realizes, too late, you were never alone at all. This is the terror of silent alliances. They are deadlier than declarations because they breed paranoia. No one knows where your influence ends. No one knows who might strike back on your command. Machiavelli warned, "A prince must choose his ministers wisely, for they reflect his power." The cunning ruler surrounds himself with capable, loyal allies in silence, so rivals never dare test his reach. In the workplace, this means you do not waste energy courting the crowd. You cultivate the decision-makers, the gatekeepers, the ones who control resources. In society, you do not seek noise. You cultivate a handful of figures who can tilt the field itself in your favor. Because here is the truth. One silent alliance with power outweighs 100 noisy friendships with weakness. And when enemies finally strike, they will not fight you alone. They will fight the invisible army coiled in your shadow, and by then, their defeat is already written. Freeze the fire, rule with ice. Office politics feeds on one fuel: emotion, anger, jealousy, insecurity. And most employees, pathetic slaves to it. They flare, they sulk, they break down. Every twitch, every outburst, betrayal of their weakness. But you must be different. Cold, detached, icy. Smile when insulted. Nod when provoked. Let fools believe they've struck you, while inside you feel nothing. Because here is the law. Emotion is weakness. Detachment is strength. When you stop reacting, you rob enemies of ammunition. They cannot manipulate you, they cannot predict you, they cannot touch you, and that is where real victory lies. Emotional detachment doesn't just protect you, it terrifies them. Picture it. A man who cannot be rattled, who cannot be provoked, who does not flinch. Such a man becomes untouchable. His rivals hurl fire at ice. The flames roar, but when the ashes settle, he is still standing. Machiavelli warned, "A prince must never reveal fear, never show weakness. The ruler who loses composure forfeits respect, but the one who stays calm while others burn commands awe." At work, imagine two fools locked in a shouting match, veins bulging, faces red. Then picture you, silent, still, composed. Who looks stronger? Who wins? In society, when others rage, your calmness unsettles them. Your silence becomes their mirror, exposing their lack of control. And in power struggles, nothing cuts deeper than unpredictability. If they cannot provoke you, they cannot control you. So burn this law into your mind. Be ice while others burn. And in their fear of your composure, they will hand you power. Office politics is not chaos. It is not survival of the loudest. It is not luck of the boldest. It is strategy. It is the art of piercing through your fragile ego, of dissecting motives, of aligning with power, of striking when the moment is ripe, and withdrawing when the field is poisoned. Most of your enemies, they choke on insecurity. They bleed themselves dry through gossip. They waste their strength in petty theatrics. But not you, because you are no longer reacting, you are orchestrating, and in orchestration lies true power. First, power over yourself, the discipline to stay silent, the composure to remain ice, the iron shield of values that cannot be bought or bent. Second, power over others, the leverage of silent alliances, the weapon of visibility, the control of narrative, and finally, power over the entire game. When you master the pieces, you master the board. When you master the board, you dictate the war. This is not survival. This is domination. And the throne belongs not to the loudest voice, not to the busiest worker, but to the cold strategist who transforms politics into his battlefield.
Thanks for spending time with us. If this sparked a new way of thinking, hit like and subscribe to keep the ideas flowing. And don't forget, check the description for the links to the resources and the original books we used today. We'll see you in the next one.